the 1930s, I would certainly have said that the Roman Catholic Church was the most dangerous religion in the world because of its open alliance with fascism and anti-Semitism, which the damage from that our culture has never recovered from and never will. But at the moment, it's very clear to me that the most toxic form that religion takes is the Islamic form. The horrible idea of wanting to end up with Sharia, with a religion-governed state, a state of religious law, and that the best means of getting there is jihad, holy war, and that Muslims have a special right to feel aggrieved enough to demand this, I think is absolute obscene wickedness, and I think their religion is nonsense. And
in its
entirety.
I think there's a lot of ignorance and fear out there in the UK, and I want people to understand what Muslims are really about.
Saima is keen to show Katie every aspect of her life as a Pakistani Muslim.
We're not aliens. We don't have horns sticking out of our heads. We are just normal, loving, kind people who care about our families, who care about our local community, who care about the society and the world at large.
Holy fuck! Oh my God! Oh my God! Jesus fucking Christ! Chris, are you... don't touch it.
There seems to be one foolproof way to rally voters on the right.
I think Islam hates us.
While he's certainly the loudest Islamophobe, Trump isn't the only one bashing Muslims for political gain. For a long time, negative portrayals of Muslims was part of our media landscape.
ايش حيقولوا عنك؟ انك مو المفروض تكوني هنا.
Why are only Muslims mentioned in talks about religious extremism? Did y'all forget about the KKK, Westboro Baptist Church, Crusades?
Entering time module. Stand back. Initiating launch sequence. Tingling sensation in lower body. Blood pressure rising rapidly. Penetrating space-time continuum. I can feel time warping!
I'm a pediatrician. I am a human. I am a mom.
I'm a Muslim.
I like to call myself the naughty Muslim.
What I've always liked about being a Muslim is that there are so many variations of it. There are so many variations of it. There are so many variations of it.
Okay.
Why are you bringing Islam here? Do you want Sharia law in Australia? Do you? What are you doing to this country? You're destroying our culture.
Why am I bringing Islam here? Like, I'm not really. I was born here. You were born here as well.
I was born here. My parents were born here. My grandparents were born here.
There's a mosque which is 146 years old, you know, so Islam and Muslims have been here for a long period of time.
And I hope that when we stand up to those who oppress our communities, that Allah accepts from us that as a form of jihad, that we are struggling against tyrants and rulers, not only abroad in the Middle East or in the other side of the world, but here in these United States of America, where you have fascists and white supremacists and Islamophobes reigning in the White House.
There are so many variations of it.
At me, and I smiled at her. She didn't smile back, and she just stared really hard.
Thankfully, living in Southern California, there hasn't been a time where I felt afraid of wearing hijab, but there isn't a day that goes by where I'm not afraid for my sisters. Muslim women are the biggest target, largest target for someone who is Islamophobic, because we are outwardly Muslim. There's no hiding the fact that I practice the faith of Islam. And so if somebody wants to do some sort of hate act towards me, they're gonna go towards someone who is wearing hijab.
Anybody that thinks that you should be killed for drawing a cartoon, obviously it does not, is a terrorist, is somebody that we need to hunt down, that we need to get rid of in our societies. The huge issue, the big issue with non-assimilation. The fact that you've got people that want to come to our country but not adopt our values. In some cases, not adopt our language. In some cases, want to set apart their own enclaves and continue to hold on to their own values. I think that's dangerous. I think it's dangerous in America. I think it's dangerous in Europe.
Takbir! Allah!
here merely saying to you, look, there's a better way of life. You do not need to live like animals, following your own desires. The big industries you see nowadays in the West are things like gambling, pornography, alcohol, drugs, homosexuality.
If you took over Britain, you'd ban alcohol.
Of course, alcohol will be banned, drugs will be banned, pornography will be banned, gambling will be banned, but the money saved, there will be no monarchy.
Like, seriously, what people forget is that ISIS kill a lot of Muslims as well.
Yeah.
They'd kill us.
Yeah, they just want to kill everyone.
Look, they'd kill him.
They'd so kill me.
There are so many variations of it.
Karma, Nefertiti, no drama. Make a feminist planet. Woman haters get banished. Covering up or not, don't ever take us for granted. All around the world, love women every shade.
My hijab has nothing to do with oppression. It's a feminist statement. It was probably the first thing you noticed, but I'm wearing a hijab. It's just a scarf.
Saudi police have arrested a young woman who posted a picture of herself outdoors without the headscarf, violating laws according to the Saudi officials.
This is a question I've been asking. Would you rather have women's rights or Islam? I actually don't have a problem with Islam. I don't see it as being incompatible with women's rights. Really? Yeah.
I say kill the Mayor of London and you will be rid of one Muslim terrorist. Can you hear this? Muslims need to be shot or hanged. The mayor is doing nothing about tax. Muslims have no dignity. I wish Sadiq Khan would just blow himself up like they all do. He might get his 12 virgins. As Mayor of London, I wish someone would build a fire and throw you on it, you useless sack of shit. If you use a knife to mutilate your daughter's vagina, will the full force of the law be brought down on you? Asking for a Muslim. There's an easy solution for terrorism. Deport the Muslims, starting with your pathetic self. I don't read this out to be portrayed as a victim, but I worry about what happens when young boys and girls from minority backgrounds see this kind of thing on their social media timelines or experience it themselves. And what about young girls and women who have been driven from these platforms, reversing our long fight for gender equality? Platforms such as Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube have brought huge benefits to society, but also significant challenges. We've already seen evidence of elections and referendums being influenced. A rise in extreme propaganda and online abuse, misogyny and religious hatred, fake news spreading disinformation, algorithms blinkering us from different points of view and pushing people to extremes, and terrorists and far-right groups using social media to not only inspire but to radicalise and brainwash others. All of this dividing us rather than uniting us. It's on all of us to tackle this problem. Social media companies, governments, politicians, the media, and you. Let's work together.
My father, the man responsible for my education, taught me that Islam, rightly understood, is a religion and philosophy of peace. In fact, he said that for any society to be peaceful and prosperous, it had to institute the rule of God, or Sharia. I came to disagree with my father. It was a gradual process that started when I entered and lived in societies such as the Netherlands and the United States that applied man-made constitutions and laws. Both countries are peaceful and prosperous. I now disagree even more with my father that Islam is a religion of peace. When I look at the amount of security that is deployed tonight here, the amount of security that is deployed for the Richmond Marathon. 6 months ago, the Boston Marathon was bombed by two brothers who invoked the founding documents and the founding father of Islam. I disagree with my father when I look at the wanton killing of a Westgate Mall in Nairobi by Somali men invoking Allah and Muhammad to justify their horrid act. Kenya is the most hospitable country to Somalis fleeing their own country, so it distresses me even more. I disagree with my father when I look at the reports this week of 30 men and women worshipping in Iraq who are killed by a suicide bomber invoking the very same God and the very same prophet that they invoke. I disagree with my father when he says that Islam is a religion of peace. When I look at the 120,000 dead in Syria, Syria is now a stage of a proxy war between Islam's two most important and most influential nations, the Sunni Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and the Shia Islamic Republic of Iran. I disagree with my father that Islam is a religion of peace when I read about the almost daily reports of the destruction of churches, the pillaging of Christian property, the rape of Christian women, the terrible exodus of Christians and other religious minorities from Muslim countries. All this is done by men who invoke the founding father and founding documents of Islam. I disagree with my dear beloved father when I read about the teenage girl in Pakistan who's shot point blank in the head by a man invoking Allah and Muhammad because she wanted education. In the name of Allah and Muhammad, women are forbidden to drive. They're forbidden to own their own reproductive rights. They're forbidden to do anything unless they have permission from a male guardian. I disagree with my father that Islam is a religion of peace when I read these founding documents and I study the history and the example of the Prophet Muhammad. In there, I find an insistence of war and intolerance towards infidels, the hypocrites, those who associate God with others, homosexuals, women, and so on. What Islam needs is not a denial of these overwhelming and compelling facts. Islam needs a reformation. Muslim leaders who are serious about achieving true and enduring peace need to revise the Quran and the Hadith so that there is a consistency between what the peace-loving Muslims want and what their religion says. We are now in America. Imam Faisal Abdul Rauf here tonight likes to compare the American Constitution to Sharia law. The Constitution is only 225 years old, and it has been amended 27 times. The Quran is at least 1,200 years old. It has not been amended once. What a shame. It is urgent and imperative to start these amendments. It's time to innovate, innovate, innovate. And I will do, ladies and gentlemen, what I can do to help. Thank you.